Hello everyone and welcome to lesson 26, where we're going to have a third look at removing unnecessary language, in this case these words behind me. But it's not just going to be don't use these words because you could say something else. There is a particular reason why I've chosen these three unnecessary phrases, and this understanding this reason will help you think about the English that you write and the audience that you are writing to. So the main thing I want you to take away from this lesson is that English is a language in which the words can be understood both literally and idiomatically. And if we understand the word literally, then this is a relatively easy thing to do. As language learners, we understand or we learn the literal meanings of words first. When we look in a dictionary, the first definitions of those words are the literal meanings of those words. It's the idiomatic meanings that cause the difficulty, and that's the problem with the three phrases that we're going to have a look at today. And it's a problem because, remember, I talked about audience. If you're going to use advanced language, and advanced idiomatic forms is advanced language, you've got to make sure that your audience will understand that advanced language. If they don't, or if you suspect that they won't, then there's no point using that language. As I've said in many lessons, when you're writing, you're not writing to show off your Shakespearean skills, you're writing to communicate with someone. And if that person cannot understand what you're writing because it's advanced idiomatic language, then you are not communicating, your writing will not be successful. But I want you to go and check this out for yourself. So when you find a word that you don't know, or you find a phrase that you don't know, choose a word from that phrase, go to the dictionary and have a look at the definitions, and you'll find that the definitions that are first will be the literal ones, and then way down, in some cases, will be the idiomatic. Got there in the end. There will be the idiomatic definitions. So I want you to put yourself in that person's shoes, that you're trying to find out what the word is. You go to a dictionary, you open the dictionary, you have to go through to the 6th or 7th entry to work out, okay, it's not the first 5 that are correct here, it's this 6th one. Does anyone have the time to do that? No, of course they don't. So what happens in reality is that people just ignore the language and hope that it's nothing important. So people will often stop simply at the literal meaning in the dictionaries. Only advanced learners will be comfortable with advanced vocabulary, which seems like a really obvious thing to say, and it is. It's just that as writers, we don't think about that when we are writing. So the focus of this lesson here is really twofold. First of all, if you're going to use idiomatic language, you've got to make sure that your audience will understand it. And in doing that, you've got to think of the reader, not your skills as the writer. So it's that part of that review process where you're analysing your writing after the first draft, after the second draft, and you're saying, will this writing work? Who is my audience? Will they understand what I've written? You don't want to waste a reader's time. And what I mean by this is, of course, the reader, when they get something they don't understand, will have to work out what it means. They'll go to that dictionary, they'll go through that process I talked about a few minutes ago, looking up the word, going through the definitions, trying to work out which one is the correct definition, and so on, so on. Don't waste the reader's time. Do the work for them. In other words, choose vocabulary that they will understand. Let me give you those 3 examples. So in the course of, so if you go to the dictionary and you have a look at course, then to get the correct meaning for this legal prepositional phrase, it is way down that list. I checked on Google before I did this video. It's about the 6th or 7th entry. That course will mean during. But of course, in the course of does mean exactly that, during. So instead of saying in the course of the conversations or in the course of the negotiations, you could simply say during the conversation, during the negotiations, and everyone understands. And if the person doesn't know what during means, if they go to a dictionary, it's very clearly explained straight away what it means. And because it's clearly explained, it's very easy to translate and then later on to remember. In the course of is quite difficult to translate. What about the next one? In the vicinity of. Now, if you choose vicinity and you look in the dictionary, you will see that it will talk about being close to something or near something. But why would we want the reader to go through that process of going to the dictionary, opening it up, finding out what the word means, when we can just say near? So rather than in the vicinity of the building, we could just simply say near the building, close to the building, and the reader will understand a lot faster. And your message means exactly the same thing. And lastly, with regards to. So if the person who got this writing looked up regards, the chances that they will understand that regards means actually about is very, 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 very small. So if you said, with regards to the email I sent last week, and that person then has to look up regards, and they look up regards and they see what regards means literally, or even idiomatically, and then they think, well, that doesn't make any sense at all. But if you just write about the email that I sent last week, or an alternative which is also easier to understand, if you're not happy with about for some reason, there's nothing wrong with about. About is still legal, professional, business-like. Nothing wrong with about. So the point I'm trying to make is you've got clear alternatives, which one, use a lot less words. Secondly, are a lot easier to understand. So think about that very, very carefully. I know it sounds a little bit counterintuitive, a little bit hard to believe, but less words really does mean a more powerful message. You're getting to the point straight away, and not only that, the studies have shown that if you use less words to communicate a complex point, it shows your expertise and seniority in that field. There's nothing worse than writing 1,000,000 words to try and communicate what is a relatively simple message. Using those 1,000,000 words will not make you look good. It will make you look quite the opposite. It will make you look bad, because then you can't explain what it is that you're trying to say. There are lots of prepositional phrases. We've had a look at 3 of them in this lesson. We've looked at them in previous lessons. We will look at them later on in this series of videos. All of them can be reduced into simpler forms. Use those simpler forms. Think of, once again, going back to the audience, think of the reader's time, energy, and willingness to read your text. If it's too complex, if they have to read your text with a dictionary, they simply won't read it. It's an unfortunate reality, but it is a reality. And this is an easy thing to get right in your writing. Make a habit of hunting for these phrases after you finish writing. So once you do some writing, and now you know what some of these phrases are, look for those phrases in your writing as you're reviewing your writing, and then simply change them. And if you tend to use them time and time and time again, make a list of them. So make your own personal style sheet or style guide, or even whatever you want to call it. Make a list of the common things that you do which could be improved in your writing. And after every piece of writing, look for those issues and then change them in your writing. And that's one way you can improve your writing systematically. And it seems obvious after everything I've said right now, but using these shorter, more concise forms, using less words, more powerful language, it dramatically improves the readership of your writing, and of course the reader will understand what you're writing. Okay, it's time for questions, so this is what I would like you to do. Read the sentences below and change the underlined prepositional phrase to a simpler, shorter form. If you have joined me on Patreon, you will see the questions. You can download them from the link below. If you are watching this on YouTube, LinkedIn, or on Facebook, and you want to join me on my Patreon page, where you'll get access to my online legal English, business English writing courses, then please think about doing so. You'll also get access to my answer video as well. Okay, for those of you on Patreon, The questions will look like this. If we have the time in the course of the meeting, we will discuss next year's plans. All I want you to do is change it to the simpler alternative word. And this is a question of building habit. That's all it is. If you do it once, if you do it 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, you will start to develop that good habit in place of that bad habit. So try those questions and then check out my answer video to see if your answers agree with mine.